The New England Patriots have a very tough decision to make. Cam Newton, Mac Jones. Cam or Mac, Mac or Cam. Let's talk about it. All that coming up in just a minute. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, where we take a pensive approach to the sports conversation. And in this video, we're going to talk about the Patriots and their quarterback controversy. Who are they going to start? Mac Jones or Cam Newton?
So you'll notice, Jay, as we wrap things up, how one of the intriguing things about this preseason, since we were going to have it whether we wanted it or not, is this rookie quarterback versus established but underachieving quarterback. And you've had these types of quarterback battles going on in the NFL, which actually doesn't happen too often.
We have a lot of quarterback battles this year,
a lot of
more than years past.
Right, a lot of quarterback battles, a lot of new quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, etc. So just like you have Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco, who still has not named their starter. You had Justin Fields and Andy Dalton, who stuck to their guns and kept Andy Dalton as the week 1 starter, which I think is good. But by week 2, send in Justin Fields. And lastly, and we've talked about this several times, that's how intriguing this particular matchup is. To me, it's the most intriguing, and to me, it's the closest, is in New England, where you have Cam Newton versus Mac Jones. Cam versus Mac. Same spell backwards. So, get it?
I hate you.
Yeah, palindrome. Anyway, so I read
My mind is blown.
So I read this really interesting article. This was actually before their preseason game that I read this. This was Friday on The Athletic by Jeff Howe, where he talked about his belief that Mac Jones should be the starter over Cam, even though he's a rookie. And what he looked at is their stats from their 11 on 11 and 7 on 7 drills, as well as their joint practices. And each one of those, Mac Jones basically had better stats. Not by much. Cam has had a really good camp, but Mac Jones has just been a tick better than Cam Newton. So you combine that with their final preseason game this past Sunday against the Giants, where you had Cam come in. He went 2 for 5, 10 yards, and an interception to Blake Martinez. I watched the game, so I know. And then you had Mac Jones, who played the majority of the game, honestly. He went 10 of 14 for 156 and a touchdown. So finally, and we know that Belichick, he said after this game he was undecided still about who the starting quarterback was going to be. But nonetheless, is it fair or unfair to say that Mac Jones is going to, in fact, supplant Cam Newton as the starter of the New England Patriots?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely unfair. I don't see Belichick throwing a rookie out there this year. Like you said, they both had really good camps. So what I've heard, I was listening to Pro Football Focus, and they talked about how really good of a camp Cam Newton had in the eyes of leadership and the way that they won and performed. Now, I know the little situation happened with him going off campus for a procedure. And I believe it was for a second opinion that he was approved to go on, but it was outside of the protocols, which tells us, of course, that Cam is also not vaccinated. So he had to sit out for a bit, but when I sat there bubble. But Cam hasn't done anything to lose the job yet. So to me, you bring him back if you feel like he hasn't done anything to lose the job, and they brought him back. And so because they brought him back, I don't see a reason for them to go ahead and bench him now. Mac Jones is built for this system. He's built for the Patriot way. He's built specifically because of the type of quarterback he is. He gets rid of the ball quick, makes really quick decisions, blah, blah, blah. Cam brings another dynamic. Now, I could totally see them maybe going to like a 2-quarterback system at some point, bringing Cam on the short yards and let him, trick everybody out and deciding which direction he's going to go, if he's going to pass, if he's going to run, etc. But after hearing all these reports from camp and everything, I definitely know this. Mac Jones is their quarterback for the future. Like I said, he's perfect for what Josh McDaniels is going to want to do. But I don't see what did Cam do to lose the job.
Mac Jones is a better quarterback than he is.
I don't know if I agree with that yet.
He is. He's a better quarterback than him.
I think Mac is good great for this system. I don't think he's better yet.
He, like I said, he outperformed him in nearly every practice. You draft him because you know you want him to be your starter. And this last preseason game, it might be something to gloss over, but I don't think it was. When he threw that interception, I don't think he came back after that. So what I think they did by giving Mac Jones so much more time over Cam Newton is they wanted Mac Jones to give them a reason not to choose him as a starter. And when you go 10 of 14, which is a high completion percentage for that many yards and a touchdown versus Cam's pick, I think that had a huge impact on them choosing Mac Jones. Now, I think I'm going to say that they are going to choose Mac Jones. And you already made part of my argument for me, which is that he fits this system. Because think about this. New England obviously was out there most successful when they had Tom Brady. So which of these quarterbacks, in terms of demeanor, in terms of style of play, fits their system the best? Who is it that they're used to? People gravitate towards what they're used to.
Yeah, you go back to what you're comfortable to, and you're right.
Because think about it. Because Mac Jones, very little athleticism, just like Tom Brady. I mean, just bad combine photos, just like Tom Brady. Deadly accurate, just like Tom Brady. Not perfect, but accurate, more accurate than Cam Newton.
Right.
And he's obsessed with the game. In this article that I talked about with Jeff Howe, talked about how he gets there at 4:30 a.m., just like Tom Brady used to do. And he loved it the most on the weekends when people are not there and he's got the place all to himself. That's the kind of obsession that you can't coach. And this is part of what they said about him in Alabama. So who's been talking him up this whole time to Bill Belichick is Nick Saban, right? So I think that when you look at the little things, this little COVID mishap thing with Cam, and he loses 4 days of practice, and Mac Jones looks good in those practices. The only thing that Cam has over Mac Jones is that he's a veteran, is that he's older. And that means something to me. So I don't think it's not a bad move if they start Cam Newton. I totally understand that. But they know Mac Jones is the better quarterback. So here's the thing. Cam Newton gets into the spot week 1. They choose him as a starter. Here's their schedule, the first 6 games of the year. You open up against Miami at home. Then you have the Jets. Then you have the Saints. Then you have the Bucks. Then you go to the Texans, and then you have Dallas at home. By the end of that 6-game stretch, New England could be 2-4. So by then, going into week 7? Is my math correct? Yeah, week 7. Mac Jones is going to be your starter by then. If Cam goes 2-4 against those teams, and he very well could, honestly, because right now I will pick Dallas over them. I will pick Tampa over them. I will pick Miami over them. New Orleans, I will pick them over them. No one's picking the Jets or the Texans over them, obviously. But I think that sooner rather than later, because originally I said Mac Jones is a starting quarterback beginning 2022, but I think it's going to happen much sooner than that because I think that they can see the same thing that I see, that he's a better quarterback than Cam Newton. Doesn't mean Cam is bad. Cam is still good, but Mac Jones is just a tick better than him.
Cam is aged, and we're starting to see him show his age. But I think him having this extra year in the system and Josh McDaniels, as much as we default back to what makes us comfortable and what we're used to.
Yeah.
We also like that new shiny toy. We also like the excitement of that and the thrill of the new flame. We thoroughly enjoy that. A lot of people enjoy that a lot more than they should. Right. But we actually get into that kind of stuff. And that's what I see with Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick with this offense. Cam gives them way more versatility in what they can do with the offense, especially because they still have one problem that, to me, affects Mac Jones more than Cam Newton. Who are their receivers?
I can name them, but
you can name them, but that's my point. Who's their receivers?
Forget the receivers. This is a tight end oriented offense. They still have 2 Pro Bowl tight ends.
So now they do, and that's something that they're going to be able to really evolve into. But at the same time, I think that Cam will flourish with that because Cam was great with Greg Olsen.
Yep,
but it's all he had.
I agree.
I mean, if you think about the rest of his receivers in the set that he's ever had in Carolina, who was his wide receivers? Who did he have that you could say, yeah, you know what? He was a legitimate number one.
He had Steve Smith for a spell, didn't he?
I think Steve Smith
was that he was already gone by then?
I think he was gone.
He might have been gone by then.
I think he was about to leave.
Was it Kelvin Benjamin? That was his first.
That was his first number one. That
flamed out quickly.
So because of that, I don't believe that I think that that's what the Patriots are looking at, is that Cam did great, like I said, with Greg Olsen. He did great with a tight end. Mm-hmm. Gave him 2 that he can now target. And then you have these young receivers that they're just trying to figure out what they're going to do with. Mm-hmm. Cam is more likely to be successful with them and this offensive line than Mac is when it comes to the ones. Not the twos, because you remember, Mac spent most of his time with the 2s and the 3s in these games.
That's true.
I'm talking about getting against the 1s, especially when they go against teams like Tampa Bay with that front 4. The Saints, whose defense is front 7. Shoot, the Saints, whose defense has been up there. The Dolphins, who has a legitimate defense under Flores. You know, you go down that list of all these teams. The Cowboys' defense is actually getting better.
And that's part of what I'm saying. Part of what I'm saying is that in these games, they're going to turn Cam Newton over probably twice in each one of those games, and then eventually the crowd, you know, the calls are going to get louder and louder for them to bring in the kid, and eventually they are going to.
Yeah, I was wrong. So Steve Smith was with him at the beginning of Cam's career. He played. Yeah, he actually played. He's putting up 1,000-yard seasons.
So he had 2. Did he get prime Steve Smith?
He got the end of the road
before he went to Baltimore.
Smith.
I think it was.
Yeah, because he spent last 3 years. He did last 3 years of his career.
Yeah, I mean, it was still
14, 15, and 16.
He was still a good receiver. I mean, regardless, you're right.
Yeah, he had like a year or two of him. So that's a difference maker. I mean, you don't have once you get to the prime of your career, you don't have a number one. You don't have a number one wide receiver, and that makes a difference for your quarterback.
True. Okay, so you see them announcing Cam Newton as a starter.
Yep.
Is that right? Okay.
I see them picking Cam and just going with that, calling it a day. And, you know, I mean, because 2011 is when Cam got there. He had Steve Smith for 3 years. Right. Then he left, ended up being out. So the young Cam, remember, Cam threw for like 4,000 yards the first 2 seasons. Cam was.
It was just his rookie season.
Oh, yeah. Second year, he drew just under that amount. And we looked at him like, oh, man, this dude is a lot better than we thought he was going to be coming into here. He just wasn't accurate. I mean, he wasn't. He threw for 4,000 the first year, 38 the second year. And then as soon as Steve Smith was out, and you can tell the difference when you don't have that number one option.
And that's what I'm saying. A quarterback like Mac Jones, he doesn't really need a number one option because he will find the right guy to hit in that offense, play to play. He doesn't. I mean, that's part of what the benefit is of this offense is you don't have that kind of receiver because having a great receiver who's got the personality to match in a sense can be a bit of a curse. So with this offense, Mac's is going to hit the open guy. And I know Cam can do the exact same thing, but like you just pointed out, he functions best when he knows who his legitimate number one receiver is, who he can truly trust and depend on. And in this offense right now, you got to say it's probably Jonnu Smith, but he's a tight end. And I think he got a little nicked up about a week or so ago, as did Hunter Henry before that.
Yeah, everybody's getting hurt in the NFL right now.
But I think it's Mac. I think they choose Mac, and if they don't, they're going to choose him by week 7.
Okay, so you think by week 7 is what you're going to go for?
That's what I'm hedging on.
You're hedging on that
week
now.
7.
Okay, you want to put some money on that?
How much?
Seafood dinner.
Okay, that Mac Jones is the starter by week 7. Okay, it's a deal.
Got it on the show.
Deal. Got it.
Boom.
All right.
It's on camera, guys.
Got it.
America, make sure you hold this man to this, and you can hold me to it because I'm gonna go ahead and I will pay up. I understand because I don't really care either direction. I'm just excited to see. I want to see what Cam can do after an offseason with the Patriots.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I know that Mac's the future, and I know that next season Mac Jones will be the starting quarterback. And I think it's better to give him a full year and not getting destroyed, and make sure your offensive line is good. Right. That I don't want to see Mac behind a bad line because I don't want to see. I don't like quarterbacks.
No, the Patriots have a good line. That's not going to be a problem at all. They've got a good
line. Because that's what Bill Belichick does. He knows the GM.
Every lineman on Madden is 80 or better.
Oh, okay. So in other words, they have a good line.
Yeah, they have a good line. They're fine.
Okay.